Greetings, James Bond fans out there, and welcome back to the Bond Geek channel with me, your host, the name's Stevens. Henry Stevens. Everybody, how'd you do? I hope you're all well. Hope you're enjoying a good Bond film, a good Bond book, a good Bond video game, a good James Bond, whatever makes you part of this glorious fandom, everybody. That is the James Bond community. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. And today on this episode, this is a special spoiler-filled review of No Time to Die. Effectively, No Time to Die review part 2, spoilers, everybody. As I've said now, how many times, in this episode, we're going to be looking really into depth about everything that happened in No Time to Die, really going into spoilers, really going in depth into characters I couldn't talk about in my non-spoiler review, everybody, and talk about the twists and turns that happen in this film, and of course the ending, which will bring up a lot of things, I'm very sure, everybody. So before we get started, everybody, I just want to say again for the last time, this is a spoiled-filled review of No Time to Die, everybody. We're going to be talking about everything, and just to get stuff up, Bond has a child, Bond dies at the end. See, we're talking about everything when it comes to this film, everybody. But if you want to see my non-spoiler review of No Time to Die, it's on the channel now, so go on and enjoy it. Right, so let's start off with the gun barrel and the pre-title sequence in this movie. Let's start off with the gun barrel here. Now, I am very much a guy who just loves the gun barrel, okay? It's one of the most important parts to me when it comes to the James Bond franchise. I love seeing the gun barrel at the beginning of the film because for me it symbolises like a teleportation. You're going into James Bond world. And the Daniel Craig era of gun barrels, let's say, haven't been the best. I mean, the one in Casino Royale was really great and it gave the gun barrel some really great purpose to it. With that as well, the Quantum of Solace one wasn't very good, and the Skyfall one, I wish it was at the beginning of the film, but I understand why they put it at the end of the film, and it was okay. The Spectre one was okay. I know a lot of people give us a bit of bashing, but I think it's when the words come, the dead are living, it sort of slightly ruins it a bit. I have to ask, No Time to Die doesn't have a traditional gun barrel. It has a complete new redesign and a whole new way of doing the gun barrel. And it actually works for me. It's a very much a silver looking gun barrel, and what I really liked about it was how the Universal logo was in the middle and then it turned into a dot and then the dots went boom boom and then across like we normally do, which was actually a really nice way of going through. It was like an extended long gun barrel sequence. But anyhow, in this gun barrel, okay, Bond comes on in a denim jacket, finally shoots, and then there's no blood, Bond disappears and the camera sort of zooms in to the scene that's going to happen. And again, like always, the scene starts through that dot in the gun barrel, but also what happens, which I actually really liked, was the scene got reflected onto the gun barrel itself, sort of, you know, like in a sort of convex sort of going around it as we went in. And you know what, it looked really, really cool. I really liked it. I did miss the fact that we didn't get any blood in, you know, sort of trickling down on this gun barrel like normal. But I actually thought it was a really good gun barrel. It was enjoyable, it did its thing, and I felt as a Bond fan really hyped and chuffed that I felt that we were entering Bond world. So everybody, if they decide from now on in the franchise this is how we're going to do gun barrels, I'm honestly okay with it. I really am. I actually feel I'm honestly, sincerely, with all my heart, okay with that way. And then we move on to the pre-title sequence. Now, the pre-title sequence is split into two. There's like a flashback bit where, remember in Spectre, Madeline talked about that person who came to attack her and her mum and her dad or so when they were younger. This sort of, the opening of the pre-title sequence shows that bit, and it turns out the assassin who tried to kill Mr. White's family and Madeline and her mum was Safin. And it's a real sort of horror, sort of thriller vibe to this. This is like this whole first part of the pre-title sequence is right straight out of a horror, and it's really, really tense. It's really nail-biting, and it's such a good sequence. Literally, talking about starting on such a high note, it was really, really incredible, everybody. And then following on from that, you get Bond basically on a honeymoon with Madeline. They're now married. They're in Madeira. Madeline's told Bond to come here because she wants him to make peace with Vesper, and there's this really sort of emotional thing, and this is where in the film they really start to bring in the sort of On Her Majesty's Secret Service vibe, certainly using all the we have all the time in the world, which I really liked, everybody. I don't mind them using these sort of vibes when I feel it really adds to the atmosphere and the situation we're in, and for me it really, really did here. Which then led to, if you will, the pre-title action sequence, which starts obviously with the blowing up of Vesper's grave thanks to Blofeld. Which, by the way, everybody, on that note, Spectre are so much in this movie and such a pivotal thing in this movie. it was really, I didn't really realise how much it would be, and Blofeld has such a bigger part than I actually ever realised. But I think when Bond goes to Vesper's grave and just says, hi, you know, I miss you, it was so emotional. It was so well done, I have to say. And the action sequence that follows is just incredible. Going from foot to bike to car. This has been one of the best chase sequences they've ever done with the Aston Martin DB5, everybody, without a shadow of a doubt. It was so well paced, so well done. And I have to say, I talk about Daniel Craig here. This has to be one of the best performances he's ever done as James Bond, in my opinion. He really plays it as such an emotionally broken character. Because I think with the pre-title sequence, with everything with Bond moving on and going to see Vesper and just, you know, finally putting her in the past, you know, I think all the memories came back up of what Vesper did to him. Even though he's over it, it's just, you know, it's starting to come back a bit. And then him being lied to, as we find in the film, where basically saying Madeline's betrayed him as well. And you just think about it, the two great loves of your life have effectively betrayed you. How does that destroy a guy? I mean, there's the bit in the chase sequence where he literally just stops and like the people are shooting. It's like, why do I bother? Why do I care? What's the point? And then finally, after Madeline just begs him, he sort of clicks back into action, and then they leave going in the train and then off to the title sequence. Obviously, at this point, as we know, Bond stays and disappears. Madeline goes off in the train, and we get into the pre-title sequence. And I think this is one of the most interesting and really cool title sequences I think they've ever done. I'm a massive fan of Billie Eilish's No Time to Die song. I really think it's an absolutely brilliant piece of music. And I don't know about you all, but I was sort of expecting a sort of more melancholy, very dark, black and whitish title sequence. But instead, we got this really massive thing with lots and lots of colour. And it was really interesting, really great to watch. I love how the Wolf for PPK's shot and made the double helixes. I love the sort of the patriotic signs in this title sequence, just decaying stuff representing the biological warfare. It was just fantastic. I loved the title sequence. I'm one of those people who will just go on YouTube and watch old title sequences of multiple films. Bond films the most. I can't wait till sometime in the future the title sequence of No Time to Die is up there, because I can't wait to watch that. The next part of the film I really want to talk about is obviously the bits that came after the title sequence. Obviously, this is where the biological weapons got stolen. There's a bit of a weird, I mentioned this in my non-spoiler review, there's a very, I think, bad comedy scene here before this happens. But the whole stealing of the scientist and the biological weapon is absolutely brilliant, I have to say, everybody. And then we get to Bond in Jamaica, sort of enjoying retirement, just enjoying being away from everything. And this is where, obviously, Felix Leiter comes back into the story and persuades Bond to help find the scientist who Spectre have stolen. On this note, I'd actually like to bring up Prima here as a henchman. I didn't think he'd be a massive thing in this movie. He's amazing. I mean, he really is, everybody. He's a fantastic henchman. Honestly, I think he's up there with some of the best. He's a really great henchman. It's interesting. I never would have thought he would be from this, from the promotional stuff. But no, he really is a really great, awesome presence in this movie. But essentially, this is where as well we get introduced to Lashana Lynch's Naomi, the new 007 in this film. So, where do I stand on Naomi, the new 007? I honestly think, hands down, this has been one of the best Bond leading ladies we have had in an exceptional long time. I really do, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, everybody. I love how the relationship that Bond and Naomi have in this film, to me, I really got into it and I really got excited about it. Let me explain. When they first meet, obviously, you know, when they finally reveal who they are, there's a lot of sort of standoffishness to each other, which is really cool to see, and I really enjoyed as well. And then it's sort of like she's trying to sort of bait him and make him all riled up and stuff, make him feel like obsolete. He's just like showing I don't really care. And then she really twists the knife in deeply when she says, "Oh, my number, by the way, is 007. What, you think they just retired the number?" And like you could tell in Bond's face he's hurt, like, that's my special number. And so he just plays it off with, it's just a number, it doesn't matter. But you can tell it really upsets him. And then throughout the film, they have a very good sort of rivalry banter. You know, again, they both one-up each other at different points in the movie. It's really cool and really fun to watch. It's one of the highlight moments. I think this is Phoebe Waller-Bridge's writing here done so well. And then, obviously, seeing them starting to work together and start to build a mutual respect for each other was really cool, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And at the end, that ultimate mark of sort of friendship and partnership between the two before they went to Saffin's Island. It's where she requests that Bond be given the 007 number back. Honestly, I could just tell between the two, there was such respect and honour between the two. It was such a pleasure watching them work together in the finale, trying to defeat Saffin and stop this biological weapon. It was absolutely incredible. But then, sorry, that was a bit on the Scientist Naomi, everybody. Obviously, from Jamaica, Bond goes to Cuba, thanks to Felix Leiter, where we have, I think, one of the most best sequences in the entire movie. This is infiltrating the Spectre meeting, which was really incredible. And then obviously got Polymer, who I talked about in my non-spoiler review, who I say this again here now, everybody. The Silent Lynch's Naomi and Ana de Armas's Polymer deserve spin-offs. I'd love to see spin-offs of these two characters. Really, really would. And then from there, you got this really fun, really cool action sequence. The music by Hans Zimmer is playing so wonderfully here, everybody. The Bond theme is blaring at the right moments. And it's just a really, really cool sequence, everybody. Everything in Cuba is such an utter highlight. And then after that, obviously, something I was expecting to happen is we got the death of Felix Leiter, betrayed by his partner Logan Ash, played by Billy Mangelson. Which, again, I'm not surprised this happened here, but, you know, when he got shot and the boat was sinking, I was so feeling the emotion here. And I could just tell, you know, everything's just been taken away from Bond now. The two lovers as light, his best friend, you know, it's all just going and it's all just been gone. It's so interesting, everybody, and just so emotionally heartbreaking. This film, honestly, I don't think people realise how emotionally heartbreaking this film actually is at times. And then from this, I think with everything going on, Bond decides to return to MI6 to talk to them. And this is where, honestly, some of the best moments in the film, again, is, everybody. Honestly, this film is full of great moments. But, you know, you got Bond going back to that garage, getting his old Aston Martin V8 Vantage, which, by the way, still looks amazing. Getting, you see all his suits and all his stuff, and then the Bond theme is playing as it's driving through, going to MI6. It's like, yes! Yes! Come on! Oh, that's incredible. That's amazing. And then the whole bits with M and Bond are really good. I love the rivalry and banter between these two. It's sort of really interesting and I think really cool. And it's always nice seeing Bond and Moneypenny. And on that note, Bond and Q together as well. You know, can I have one night without having the world to be in? Ben Whishaw is cute, Naomi Harris and Ray Fiennes as them are just incredible in this movie. They absolutely are. I love every moment they're on this. Unlike Spectre, they use just the right amount in this film, where they're past the integral story, but they're not like, you know, just overbearing and just like they're not needed or they're not just shoved in for the sake of the fact that we've got them. It's terrific. Their bits are absolutely wonderful. And then the bit where Bond talks to M, you know, near the Thames and talking about things, and Bond finally comes back into the 00 section. It's just, again, playing the On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the most patriotic Bond music we probably got. It just made my heart pump. It got me emotionally. I know some people talk about when they do reviews, they've got to be objectionable. I just don't get that. My emotions are so tied to this movie, and I'm going to base things, whether it's rational or it's, you know, it's logical. I'm basing it on my emotions, everybody. And my emotions were just going up here. And again, shout out to Rory Kinnear as Tanner. I don't give him enough credit, but he is one of the best, if not the best Tanner we've ever had in this film. And I think this film will be, because of Bond's death at the end, the last film with Ray Fiennes, Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw and Rory Kinnear, which is so upsetting in one sense to see. But hey, that's just what happens, isn't it, everybody? So, moving on from that, we go into the meeting of Bond and Blofeld and the return of Bond finally seeing Madeleine Swan. Let me just again say, everything is still firing all cylinders here. The banter and the rapport between Bond and Blofeld here is absolutely incredible as well. It's terrific. It's Hannibal Lecter vibes. It's just awesome. You know me, if you know this channel, I love good hero-villain banter, these big scenes like in Dr. No at the dinner table or Bond and Silver in Skyfall. And this film, this was just another one of those. It was so wonderfully done. But we also get reintroduced to Saffin here through Madeleine Swan, obviously. And this is where I have to say, I do love Saffin in this movie. I do. He just doesn't quite hit the mark for me in some ways. And I think it's examples in scenes like this where I feel you're the big bad guy here, but I'm not feeling it just yet. I need a bit more gravitas. But it was still really, really good. But obviously this is the bit as well where Blofeld accidentally gets killed by Bond and Madeleine runs off back to her country, her and home, where Bond eventually does follow. It's a really, really great scene. We learn so much about this biological warfare. I say again in my non-spoiler review, I say it again here now, everybody. Biological warfare scares the crap out of me. And this film, for me, shows clearly why I think anyone should be scared of biological warfare. It is frightening as hell. Again, unlike in Spectre, where you never saw anything that they did, this film you see plenty of the damage and destruction and the panic and the terror that it can cause everybody. It really does for me. And then obviously we now go into the bit in the film where we meet Madeleine again and her child, which she says she isn't Bond, but it is Bond. Again, everyone talks about this great line of, but she's got my eyes, you know, these big blaring blue eyes, which is like, so at this point I was thinking, okay, you're homaging You Only Live Twice a bit, where we know that Bond left a woman who was pregnant, and I do believe down the line, if Ian Fleming had lived, he would have explored the fact that Bond was a parent eventually. So I'm honestly actually okay with it, and I like to see the Bond character have this sort of thing. As I mentioned again in my non-spoiler review, they chose these directions like Bond dying or Bond having a child, and they didn't just half-ass it, they went with it. They really looked into it and explored it, and that's what really gets me happy about this movie. And you see Bond as a person who's very much been a loner for his whole life, now having to realize he's responsible for this little girl, and he's finally reconnected with the love of his life. Again, everybody, I've got to say this so much again. You know, it just makes it more heartbreaking, the fact that Bond lost the love of his life once. Second one, he lost twice. He lost his best friend. He's now got, finally, hopefully, Madeleine back. But we know it's going to end, and it's just so heartbreaking. It's just nearly to the point of unbearable, everybody. But then there was a great Norway Chase scene, which was really good. A bit generic, but really cool. Had this great moment and a bit of a homage where Bond kills Logan Ash's character. A bit of a homage for us only with the car. Really, really great. And this is where Madeleine and Bond's daughter gets kidnapped, they're taken to the island, and we introduced to the Garden of Death. This is where in the film I started getting, okay, Safin is a really, really cool bad guy here, showing his sort of, if you will, mini Garden of Death. I knew we weren't going to get the actual Garden of Death ever, but this is the closest thing we get, and I think it did it really well. And it was so unnerving. He was so unnerving. He was so sort of like, I was sort of feeling disgusted by him. So I was thinking, this is really starting to heat up now. This is really starting to heat up here, everybody. And he's got this special vial, which we don't know exactly what it is, but we know it's the biological weapon. So that's really, really cool as well. Honestly, these sequences on the island are really, really great. And then obviously Bond and Naomi going to save the day in that awesome sort of gravity jet thing, going underwater, infiltrating the island. All that stuff, it's really, really great. And then again, for the second time in this film, I get another Bond hero villain banter sequence, this time with Safin, and it was a really, really great sequence. And I understood Safin's motivations, like, I really created this virus to destroy Spectre. Now it's almost like it's like crazy thing, people want oblivion, I shall now give them oblivion. You know, he was just batshit, you know what. That's really the only way I think I can describe it, everybody. And the fact that Bond has to destroy the island and destroy the virus, because the fact of the matter is, if even one bit of this virus got out, that could mean potentially the end of the world, everybody. I mean, this, let's be fair, in this film, it is weaponized smart COVID. That's what it is. And that, again, another reason why I find it so unbelievably frightening. So things go on, and then obviously, big finale happens where Safin shoots Bond multiple times, they have a bit of a fight, and then Bond unfortunately gets the virus, this new version of the virus put on him, which basically means if he goes anywhere near Madeleine or Matilda, they're going to die, and he will be responsible for it. Safin gets the final victory. Now he is basically a walking version of the virus as well. He's got to be so careful, everybody. And it puts him in this impossible situation where he can live, but he has to literally hermit himself away from the world forever, or make sure all the virus is destroyed, and that means including him. Bond kills Safin, but he realises he's got to make the ultimate sacrifice and kill himself, and he does, everybody. And I thought it was wonderfully done. If you're ever going to kill James Bond, this would be a sort of great way to do it, I do think. And it just hit me. It's like, wow, this is really happening. He can't get out of this. There's no way. Again, adds to, I think, the feeling of this virus is dangerous, and you know, it's more dangerous than I think anything Bond has ever gone up with before. It just really, I think, proves that, and his sacrifice just shows it's the only way. It's the only way to save the world, and that's what he did. Again, great lines. If we don't do this, there'll be nothing left to save. Such great lines, everybody. Such great lines. And again, just to finish off the end, a little toast to Bond at the end was really, really great. And then, you know, Madeline going off back to their honeymoon area, telling her daughter about her father, James Bond. Really, really sort of beautiful thing. And then the no time, you know, all the time in the world music to end on. Oh my God, it was emotional, everybody. So yeah, that's really my sort of in-depth thoughts about things when it comes to No Time to Die. It's one of the most emotional, unique Bond films, I say again. I couldn't use this film reference in the non-spoiler one, but I'll do it here. This film is, if you will, the Logan of the James Bond franchise. It can't be repeated, it can never be done again. And it does it, and it really goes into passion. And I applaud this film. I really, really did enjoy this film. Going forward, what I think is going to happen? Well, obviously, there's going to be a full hardcore reboot. You know, they could go down the codename theory in this timeline. I very much doubt, because they've said James Bond will return. I think this will be another complete, fresh, rebooted character, another rebooted timeline, everybody. And maybe going forward, that's how it will be. I think every actor will have his own sort of timeline, and that's how they'll do it, like a multiverse thing. But if they choose that, that's fine. No complaints here, everybody. But for me, just to finish up and capitalize this, the Daniel Craig era has had now like a 5-film character arc, a beginning, middles, and a proper sincere end. It's really quite incredible. I have sort of vibes as well, so Arthur Conan Doyle's The Final Problem in this movie. Yeah, that's how I describe it. The Final Problem meets Logan. That's the way I describe No Time to Die, everybody. It's such an incredible film to watch, I think, and one I want to watch again and again and again. You know, yes, maybe the Bond is saying Bond should never die, Bond should never have a child, but as you know, as I said in the thing earlier, Bond did have a child in the books. And if you are going to do a thing where you do kill off James Bond, even just this once, at least they went through it, didn't go half-assed, went it with full gusto and explored every avenue of it. Everybody, that is my, I think, spoiler review and discussion of No Time to Die. I hope you really did enjoy it, everybody. Can I ask you also, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe down below on the channel. Don't forget as also, everybody, to click that notification bell icon, because on this channel we have top 10 videos, reviews, editorials, what if scenarios, trailer reactions. We have everything if you're a James Bond fan. Something for you on here, everybody. As always, everybody, my name's Henry Stevens, and this has been The Bond Geek. Goodbye.